There is an attack on historically underserved students, not only locally, but nationally.
They're shutting down programs, they're closing down schools. That doesn't affect them. It affects us.
Students are here because we want to fight for an equitable education, not only for ourselves, but future generations.
If we don't include student voice, how do school board officials really know what students need in their classrooms?
Students are angry, we are upset, and we will not back down.
In 2019, the Oakland School Board decided to cut vital support programs for young people all across Oakland, despite listening to our urgent pleas and cries, knowing that these support programs were really important to us.
The board is going to take a brief recess at this time. We'll be back in 10 minutes.
After budget cuts, I felt defeated. I felt like I did not have adults by my side.
I've seen many of my peers being affected by these vital programs that were being cut. It made me feel like we weren't seen or heard.
And after hearing those no's, after feeling like we had to go home upset with no work to do, we emerged motivated and decided to take action to hold our district leaders accountable to our needs as students. Student organizations from across Oakland came together to build the Oakland Youth Vote Coalition, and together we would fight to allow 16 and 17-year-olds to vote in school board elections.
Oakland Youth Vote gives students a platform for them to really describe what they need, what they want, what they deserve.
There's been a need for Oakland Youth Vote for a very long time, I feel like. We want actual power, political, social power to hold leaders in our city accountable. Students are the ones who are being taught, growing in these institutions, forming their lives, and who deserve a say in what happens in these institutions in school.
To make sure this happened, we followed 3 steps. First, we get the measure on the ballot by meeting with city council members. Second, we got support from Oakland voters to pass the measure. And third, we make sure the measure gets implemented and continue to grow the movement. Our first step was to convince the city council to put Oakland Youth Vote on the ballot.
We did a lot of power mapping to understand what each city council member, their expertise, to really understand who could be on our side.
It was one of my first times in a Oakland Kids First meeting, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna talk to a city council member about getting this on the ballot. And I was like, what? I might as well have been talking to like Obama. I thought that was like unachievable. But the more I got into organizing, the more I realized, no, this is something that we should have been able to do.
We met with City Council President Rebecca Kaplan to develop language for the measure and get Oakland Youth Vote on the ballot. And although the work was happening during the pandemic, we continued to push through and fight.
It was really up to us to apply the pressure and remind folks at City Council that this is still something that very necessary, if not more necessary, and now that we're in a pandemic.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Lynn Lee. I'm 14 years old. I'm a freshman at Oakland High School and a youth leader with All City Council as their president. Many adults and elected officials are making decisions now that will affect my future and generation to come. Oakland students are the main ones to receive the services provided by schools, and our experience, needs, and concern should inform district policies and priorities of school board members.
Our work steered many directions throughout the pandemic, but it proved to be successful as the City Council voted unanimously to place Oakland Youth Vote in the 2020 ballot as Measure QQ. It was up to us to run an electoral campaign during a pandemic. We moved on to step 2 of our plan, mobilizing voters to support the measure.
We talked to a bunch of news outlets, received media training. We also definitely did phone banking, and I think that was the hardest part.
Organizing during the pandemic was very like a blur. I do remember that it was just social media that took over. Everything was through social media. Our Instagram was popping.
Ain't no power like the power of the youth. You got it right.
Youth under the age of 18 are making vital contributions to society every day.
It's important to me because I'm a student, and anything that's gonna affect my school system is gonna affect me.
We are ready to vote for those who create the policies that impact us every day.
Please join us and vote yes on Measure QQ.
It's a vote for me.
It is a vote for me.
It is a vote for us.
After endless conversations of young people expressing why Oakland Youth Vote was really important to them, our work paid off. 67% of Oakland voters voted to support Measure QQ. And that means 16 and 17-year-olds will now be able to vote in their local school board election.
I think it was one of the most beautiful experiences that I was ever part of.
I remember I was in the living room and I was just like, oh my God. And I ran up to my brother. He's like, congrats. And then I was like, I really want to be with my org.
What we're doing right now is gonna go into the future. Like my little sister's gonna be able to vote when she's 16. Like it's just gonna keep going. And I feel like that's hecka dope to think about, like the intergenerational aspect of it.
Now Oakland Youth Vote is in step 3 of our plan. Implementation of the measure so that young people will be able to cast their votes in the 2024 school board election.
We've been pre-registering voters. We've passed the resolution to improve civic engagement in our schools. And we are working with the Registrars of Voters to include 16 and 17-year-olds.
My advice to young people is remember that you hold a lot of power and wisdom even though you are young.
I feel like at the end of the day, local elections have more of a direct and quicker impact on your day-to-day life.
The conditions that you see in your classroom doesn't always have to be that way. And it can really be better than what it is right now.
The fight for youth power isn't over.
The work continues with you to empower our young people.
We need your help to ensure Measure QQ is implemented in Oakland as soon as possible.
And we're committed to helping young people across the country fight for their voting rights too.
Stay informed and join the fight at oaklandyouthvote.org.